Alright, hey guys, how's it going? Great, so today we're going to talk about, got a few videos coming up, but today we're going to talk about embodying your masculinity, and we will look at an area that's likely causing you to resist your masculine energy and way of being. So a real aspect that I'm seeing today is a lot of men are avoiding their masculinity or masculine self, or they're being forced to due to the way society has been run in the Western world. So I've got a few points that I want to bring up that I feel like are really important and really valid for men to hear and for men to understand now in this time, especially this era of how to get back on track when it comes to that area. Okay, so I've got a few points that I think are perfect for today, and we'll go through them. We'll see how to best explain it to you in a way that makes sense, in a way that you can actively apply practical steps to get back on track in your masculine and just being more of someone who can embody themselves in their masculine and not actually fall into that way of being weak or insecure or uncertain, which are clearly not masculine traits. Okay, so the point number one, so the first point when it comes to understanding masculinity and knowing how to get back into that way of life is to understand that society today has really poisoned masculinity. I'm going to say that again. Society today has really poisoned masculinity. And it makes me think about when I was younger, when I was in my teens or my early 20s, when my version of being a man started to be, let's say, I was influenced by things that made me adjust the way I thought a man was, or how I should be, or how I should carry myself personally. And I think the main issue that I was seeing was, again, it started from movies, television, love stories. The man is always portrayed as the romantic, the sweet guy, the nice guy who brings the compliments and is always chasing the woman, always chasing the girl, and doesn't have essentially any backbone, has no strength of himself, and doesn't really, once he gets rejected, it's like you move on. No, it's like you get rejected, and that's a sign for him to continue to persist and find a new way to grab the girl's heart or to make her attracted to him. And from that understanding, I realized, well, maybe I'll try that way. I'll become the nice guy. I'll go down the nice guy approach, and as I got more into that, it made me fear more and more of the rejection, of being disliked, of not being liked. And as I grew older and I was going through this stuff, I was like, it developed a great fear in me. I avoided the masculine and I fell into this nice guy pleaser state, and I didn't want to be seen as, I guess, anything where it came as negative. So I went down the nice guy route, and that was the issue, and that was the problem. That's the problem I still see today, as society, and I see it from feminine, like the feminist movement has got so extreme, so bizarre, that it's labelled masculinity and told as toxic, as evil. Men are evil. Men have a bad way of thinking. Men have a bad way of society, building society or viewing society. So it should be removed. And so you see a lot of women today are focused more on developing a business, being successful, having a great career, and they're avoiding the relationships, they're avoiding the family, they're avoiding these things that actually makes a community and allows a community to grow and society to advance in the best possible way. So that's what I've noticed, and that's what I see, and it'll only get worse. And I feel sorry for a lot of women who go down this path, because they're gonna get to their later years, their 40s and 50s, and regret those decisions. Some of them may be happy, they're okay to live by themselves. If they feel that's the choice for them, that's fine. But the majority of these women are living to prove a point to men, to prove a point to feminists, to say I'm independent, I can do it by myself, I don't need a man. That's all well and good, but when the time comes, when it's too late to settle down with someone, it's too late to have kids, to have a family, you're going to be filled with regret. And you don't want to be that person who ends up in an option for nobody, or someone who ends up just living with an animal or a cat or a dog And I see that with a lot of women, but that's up to them, not their choice. But with men, you have a way of changing this. Don't fall into that trap. Don't be that nice guy. Don't be that guy who's scared to walk into a room and present himself the way he is. And that's the main issue when it comes to embodying your masculinity. A lot of men are scared to do that now in case they're stepping on someone's toes. But when it comes to men and doing great things, you have to be fearless. You have to take on challenge continually, which moves me to the next point. Where people are now today are more fearful of the challenge. People are extremely fearful, or people are more fearful of a challenge. And you think about society back in the day, we went to war on a regular basis, and it wasn't just in nation against nation. It could have been tribe against tribe, it could have been neighbour against neighbour. It's like we weren't scared of getting into a fight, we weren't scared of getting into a war. And obviously it's not the best option to go into war, it's not the best option to go in for a fight and creating violence, but at least have the strength and the character to be able to do that, to be able to stand up to a challenge. And this goes across the board in all different areas, not just in violence or masculine fighting, but anything. I remember myself, I was completely nervous when asking a girl out or asking a girl for a date. I had so much fear of the rejection it would cause, and it made me really, just stifled me. I had so much fear. I had no real understanding, no real comfort in myself, and it just made me question myself completely. And especially as a man, especially of what was my mission in life. If I can't do these basic things, if I can't even ask a girl out for a date, how am I gonna get the relationship I want? How am I gonna go for the career that I want? How am I gonna do all these things? And when I realized that when maybe it was about 21, 22, and I said, I need to handle this, I need to make a difference, I need to change something. And that's when I completely invested in myself, to improve myself, when it came to relationships, when it came to just my social intelligence and my social confidence. And of course I found my faith as well around the same time. So just all these things came together and built me up emotionally, built me up spiritually. And I realized that I was just being childish, quite young and naive, and shyness was not for me. It couldn't continue. So I broke through all those barriers. I put myself in uncomfortable positions consistently, challenged myself on all my fears and all my emotions, and broke through them and grew and became someone who's at a completely different level than where I was before. And that's the major difference that changed my life. And now I'm in a position where I'm happily married, I have a child, and I can be a father now. I'm a leader. I have my own clan in a way. I've got my own pack. I have to lead and guide in the right direction. Whereas before, I wouldn't have had the confidence to do any of it. Didn't even have the confidence to walk up to a girl and ask for her number. But I made a decisive decision to break through that, not become that person anymore. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of people or men are struggling with. They're fearful of a challenge. They're putting themselves out there. And that's one aspect that you need to change if you want to do better. Is see the challenge, see your fear, start to move towards breaking that fear and breaking through that challenge. We'll move us to our final point of this video, of this topic, is to embody your ultimate masculine is freeing. To embody your ultimate masculine is freeing. And this always brings me back to that memory of when I was in jiu-jitsu. I used to spar in martial arts, and I remember it took a while. I started early, but once I got maybe like a year's time, continued to be consistent, develop my skills, get better and better and better, I found myself where I was actually good. I found myself in a place where I felt really comfortable controlling my body, controlling my movement, controlling everything about me. And the thing is, you're in the moment. It's called being present to the moment. To be good at a sport, you need to be very good at being present to the moment. Actually hit your skills, do the right thing without having to think about it, just like a switch. Moving from move to move, place to place. And especially with jiu-jitsu, if you want to beat an opponent who's maybe on your level, around the same level, you got to be 2-3 moves ahead. So it's like you set something up, you make them think one thing, but you're actually thinking about another thing. So you continue to trick them. It's like a game of chess. You're trying to find a way to make them look one way, but actually you're going to go do something else and confuse them in a way and find a way through. And that's pretty much what it is. You're trying to beat someone but by thinking ahead. And because the more control you are, the more focused you are, and the more present you are to the moment, the more you're able to think fast, find a solution, find a way to beat that challenge and overcome that. And I remember the moment when I was on a point where I got to a point where I was meeting guys that were my level, but I was beating them, I was mastering them, I was being able to see where they wanted to go, but being able to see 2-3 steps ahead of them and tricking them, putting them in a place of in a place where I was the authority, I was dominating them. And the moment was so freeing for me, and I could think of all the times back when I was young, like I said, the time when I couldn't even ask for a girl's number, I didn't have the confidence to do something, I put myself out there. In the specific moment, I was overwhelmed with how much I had changed, how I was just completely embracing who I was as a person, completely embracing my ultimate masculine, and it was so freeing, so almost like I said, overwhelming, that it completely changed my perspective that you can do it, you can make, there is a level to you that is greater, there is a level to you that is much more. And the same with my faith and my Christianity, I now know that we're here on this planet for a bigger reason than what social media will have you believe, what TV will have you believe, what politics and news will have you believe. There's a bigger reason for you here. So the more you tap into that deeper understanding, the more you tap into the deeper masculine, you start to see life in a different way. You start to have a completely different perspective. And as you develop, as you understand, as you start to embody who you are as a man, you create a new person, a new persona, which is real, which is authentic, which is natural. And you're not living a false life, or you're not living a fake life. You're not living a life of trying to prove yourself, or you're not living a life of insecurity or uncertainty, or you see a lot of people now struggling with depression or mental illness. But once you start to realize that you are enough, everything is in you is worth something. God gives you everything you have. So when you accept it, when you embody it and make it who you are, fully strive to be your strongest masculine self, that's when you move mountains. That's when you make a real difference in your life and other people's life. And it's beautiful to see when you can do that, when you can just accept who you are, accept your whole masculine self, and choose to live a life just living that way. And you don't have any stresses, you don't have worries. Things will come your way, of course, but you can look at it in a more calm, a more clear-headed, a more decisive way, and make a better decision than you would be if you're in your feminine mind, or your emasculated mind, or you're unsure, uncertain, continually weak, worried, and stressed. But you're more cool, calm, comfortable in who you are and in the way you are. Okay? So I know it's a short video, not much to say, but just comment below then and tell me what you've heard about embodying your masculinity. And because I really want to hear what other people's story and what their experience was, because I know my story is different to others. This is my story and this is how I've experienced it. But if you can let me know or comment below how you've experienced it, how you've struggled with embodying your masculinity, and what issues maybe you've come across. And yeah, it would be great to hear. And I'm gonna do a few of these videos as well, guys. So make sure to keep an eye out on YouTube and an eye out on Instagram, and what will be, because the video tomorrow will be more based on when we'll be discussing how to get rid of doubts regarding your masculinity. So actual thoughts, actual just self-doubts, insecurities that come to your mind when it comes to your masculinity, and actually how to overcome that, how to get away from those doubts. Actually fully, like I said, embrace your masculine self. Okay? Guys, until next time, peace out.